Welcome to week 12 of the Sunday Morning Beer Drinkers. I like to call this one the pre-playoffs edition of the Sunday Morning Beer Drinkers. That's not copyrighted. You can use it if you need to. Would like to apologize for the late video this week. Also not my fault. The NFL and the vids have combined to make our collective football lives a little bit harder. However, the game is getting played, which means that you're scoring points, which means you can't bitch about your season yet. With that being said, we're not going to do a big, long review this week about what happened in Week 12 because I want to talk about what's going to happen in Week 13. It's so exciting. I cannot wait to not have to worry about the next 3 weeks of football games because I'm 9-3. But you do. You have to wait. And I have done some scientific-like math to determine optimal outcomes and considered all possible variables for you, the commoners who are still jockeying for a playoff spot. So, without further ado, I will give a nod to the scores of this week. You'll notice here, there they are. Sup, scores? That's your nod. Oh, God. Oh, the COVID. Just kidding. I'm COVID free. There's the CDC has recognized that there is very little chance that watching this video will infect you with COVID. Strangely enough, there's been cases reported of people watching YouTube and contracting COVID from people who may or may not have had COVID. But does that that doesn't really matter. That could be fake news. It's just information on the internet. Don't believe everything you read. Don't believe half the things you see. Just kind of, use your mind and common sense. Anyway, that was a weird tangent. What was I even doing? Scores here. You probably took some time off from listening to me to read them. And you'll notice some people had some really great weeks. And some people had some less than stellar weeks. I don't wish to comment on anything further. So with that, we're going to take that away, and we're going to bring up the matchups for this week. Dun, 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 dun. And I'm just going to show this for just a little bit so you can kind of just get a feeling of what's coming up. It's a good reference because it has all the people. But I think that something that's important is to kind of break it down a little bit further and get into the weeds, and that's what I'm gonna do because I'm here for you, and that's what this video is about. What I will do though, because it would be unfair if we didn't acknowledge the best manager of the week last week was the Colddozers on fire, crushing lately, and crushing people's dreams and lives, and just showing that you're never really out of it. You never really are out of it. Cole has got an inspirational TED Talk that you can look up. It is also on the internet, and he would also like me to remind you that he is, in fact, the winningest manager, the championist winningest manager in the history of the Sunday Morning Beer Drinkers. So he says, "Bitch, don't count me out." Is what he said to me, unverifiably. The rest of the awards given by Sleeper last week, we're not going to spend any time on that because I got a lot to talk about, and I don't want this to be a 30-minute video. So and really, there's nothing to point out. I think everybody did pretty well, and nobody did just so poorly that they were embarrassed for themselves and had to stop watching their fantasy football scores in the middle of the AM game last week. No, I don't think that happened to anybody, and it would be silly to point it out or dwell on any of that, because this is that's the past, and we don't. There's no future living in the past. That's in a country song. So let's talk about what is going on in the division that is not mine. You could say, like, it's the stronger division, or you could say the better division, or you could say the division with people that have more wins than losses. But, you know, whichever way you want to go with that, none of it really matters to us over here in the other division that are still fighting for a playoff spot. Because in your division, as you're going to find out, it is also known as Bentler's division. I should let Bentler own this. In Bentler's division, there is already some mathematically eliminated people. Spoiler alert. So, starting off at the bottom, John Colts, as he alluded to in the chat, has been mathematically eliminated. I mean, I think it happened last week. So, rest in peace, John. The first one in for certain into the toilet bowl. Then let's flip the script and look at the top. Ugly John Garner is in the playoffs. He has made it. There's no star because he has not secured a first round bye, which is what I'm assuming the star means. He is in first place right now, but he can drop to second place in the division depending on how his matchups, his matchup and the other matchup that we're going to highlight today pan out. So let's look at the two important games that are happening this week that affect this division. Okay. I don't have, I'm not super good at the sound bites yet, so I have to do my own with my voice. Otherwise, I would just put in some kind of cool kick pow or plane sounds or rockets, jet engines or something. But I haven't got there yet. It's been the videos have been touch and go. So Bentler is playing Phil, Kevin is playing Garner, and nobody is safe. So let's look at the possible scenarios. Let's talk about the easy one, where the two guys that are currently in second and third place both win. If they both win, then everybody at the top is 8-5. Three-way ties are going to defer to points 4 for the tiebreaker. And in the case of the score, and so in this case, the scores this week will actually determine who is first, second, and third. Because in the event of a three-way tie, Kevin actually has the most points scored between those three teams. Garner is behind him by only 13 points, and then Phil is farther down, 76 points behind Kevin. So if everybody is 8-5, Phil will secure. If everybody's 8-5, Kevin will secure a first round bye, and unless Phil absolutely smokes Bentler and Garner doesn't score very well, then Phil will be third and Garner will be second. Phil would have to score 63 more points than John, 64 more points than John this week to pass him in to get the second seed or second place in the division and move John down to third place because of the amount of points. In the case of so that's in the case of everybody, Phil and Kevin both winning this week will make everybody 8-5. Obviously, if Garner beats Kevin this week, then Garner will be will have locked in his first round bye and his seed. The next scenario is an unfortunate bit of news for somebody that has a division named after him. Back in the day, Bentler lost to Phil in week 4. He probably didn't think much about it at the time. Probably because he was intoxicated. But once he sobered up, he also probably didn't think much about it, except for the, oh, golly darn shucks, I lost. Well, that week 4 matchup has caused a little bit of a stir because Bentler is playing Phil this weekend. If Bentler beats Phil this weekend, they'll be tied at 1-1. Bentler currently has, as you can see, because I probably left that infographic up. I think I did. Bentler has 1,332 points. Phil has 1,417. So a pretty significant lead on Bentler. So unless Bentler absolutely wipes the floor with Phil, because of the tie, Phil will win because they will be matched up. They'll be tied head-to-head, and Phil has the most points for, meaning that Phil will be in third place. If Bentler wins and Kevin wins, Bentler and Phil will be tied 1-1 heads up, and Phil has the higher points for. If Bentler wins but Kevin loses, it creates a 3-way tie for which Bentler has the lowest points for. So same kind of scenario, just the bottom 3 instead of the top 3. And with Bentler having the lower points for, he remains in 4th place. Meaning, even with a win this week, he cannot get into the playoffs. So, sad day, buddy. I'm sorry I had to break that news to you. There's always a chance that, I did my math wrong. I didn't take past trig, and I certainly didn't score very well in the math field. So there's a chance that I'm just screwing all this up, and there's a scenario that's going to play out that I didn't foresee or account for. But I think that's the way it looks. So the top 3 in this division are jockeying for position, but it does look pretty locked up between Garner, Kevin Lane, and Phil Saltness. Let's talk about the division with more parity, also known as the more interesting division, also known as the more fun division to play in, also known as the division with the cooler guy's name at the top of it. That's my division. Here's the exciting. Nobody's out here. What we do know is I'm in. I'm locked in. I've been locked in for a minute, and that feels pretty good. Although Kyler was trash last week, and that, my friends, is concerning. So here's what we know. This division is all about winners. The winner of Comeback Kid and First Class Fantasy will be in with a record of 5-8. In. You are going. No, excuse me. A record of 6-7. Woo! See? What'd I tell you? Math, right? The winner of Comeback Kid and First Class Fantasy will be in with a record of 6-7. The loser of Colldozers and Bulldogs will be eliminated. So, if the Cole or Garrett, whichever one of them loses, because they're playing each other this week, whichever one of them loses, they're done. Here's where it gets interesting. So, Cole is 1-1 against both First Class Fantasy and the Comeback Kid, and leads by points for by a decent margin. Cole, although he is 4-8 and in 4th place, has scored 1,353 points this week, which makes him the highest scoring team in the division other than myself. So if Cole wins, he is currently 45 plus 45 against Soling and plus 84 points ahead of Kessler in the points for category. So if Cole wins, he's in. Unless there is a scenario where Soling loses to Kessler, but happens to score 46 points or more than Cole scored in his win. In that case, Soling can lose and still maintain third place because he will be tied with either Cole or Garrett, the winner of their matchup, right? Here's the thing. So now let's talk about Garrett. Garrett won all of his head-to-head matchups between both Comeback Kid and First Class Fantasy. So if Garrett wins, he's in. In effect, the winner of the two matchups are going to the playoffs. The losers of the two matchups will be eliminated because of their records against the other teams that could be winning. Cole, interestingly enough, lost all of his early season games, but in the later season, when you thought he might have just thrown in the towel because, well, he's only won 4 times. He had only won 2 times up to the times he played these other guys. He notched 2 wins against both Comeback Kid and or 1 win each against Comeback Kid and First Class Fantasy. So Cole sticking in there, just churning that waiver wire, right? Has created himself a pretty dang good team and has got himself a shot for the playoffs. Garrett, who likewise has not given up, put up a dub against me this week. Is still right in it with a sliver's chance to make it in. So very interesting, very exciting. I can't wait for these games to play out this week and then find out that I'm completely wrong about all of my math. So that's what I got for you, boys. If you're sitting here and you're smarter than me, because lots of you are, you're like typing up the math. You got your calculators out. You got one of those azimuths or those things that kind of look at the stars, and you got maybe a calculator or a slide rule, and you realize that, well, shit, Tony, you're wrong. I'm looking at these, and I think that if it goes this way and that way, why don't you go ahead and post it in the chat? Like, let's have a discussion about this. I would love to say that I know for a fact that I'm 100% right, but I don't, because I was feeding my kid while I was doing this, and numbers ain't my strong suit, man. So that's what I got for you. You know what is my strong? I'm a good talker. Like, I like to talk, and that so far has served me pretty okay. So I hope you enjoyed this look at what's coming this week. My guess is that I will have this, I will start uploading this tonight, which means it won't finish until tomorrow morning. So you will be watching this first thing Sunday and gearing up for your game. So I'm excited. I'm excited for this weekend. See what happens. See how these things play out. I hope you guys all have a great weekend. And you know what? Like, even the guy I'm playing this, even who am I playing this week? Did anybody look? I don't even know. I haven't looked. Whoever I'm playing this week, I hope you do great too, because it 100% doesn't matter. So, you all, guys, everybody, blow up the score. Have a great time. I love you, and we will see you next week when we know who's playing where. Peace.